When you use a standard AI, your data follows a predictable path. You type a prompt, it leaves your computer and travels to a massive corporate server farm to be processed. You are then billed for every token, every small chunk of text that goes in, and every one that comes back. That constant billing cycle generates billions for tech giants. So it was highly unusual when on April 2nd, Google took the research behind their powerful Gemini models and released it as Gemma 4, with no usage fees and no billing. This shifted the workflow entirely to the user's machine. Instead of renting time on a server, you download the model's weights, its frozen knowledge, once. From that point on, your own CPU and RAM handle the thinking, completely offline. They also moved to an aggressive licensing model. Companies can now build their own commercial products and directly compete with Google using Google's own internal technology without paying a cent in royalties. This raises a difficult question. Why would a hyper-capitalist tech giant voluntarily surrender millions in potential revenue to its own competitors? The strategy starts with solving a physical limitation. Most high-end AI models are simply too large to fit into the memory of a standard laptop or smartphone, creating a barrier to local adoption. To bypass this, on the 2 billion and 4 billion parameter versions of Gemma, Google introduced a technical innovation called layer signaling. Most AI models act like a vertical stack of filters. Data drops through every layer unchanged. But in Gemma, each layer receives its own dedicated secondary signal. Because each layer gets better context, the model can be physically smaller while remaining highly intelligent. This engineering allows a model that supports 140 languages and understands images and audio to run entirely offline using under 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, less space than many smartphone apps. This optimization ensures that any developer, regardless of their hardware budget, can begin building within the Google ecosystem immediately. While the small models target accessibility, the massive 26 billion parameter version faces a different problem: compute. Running tens of billions of calculations for every single word is usually too slow for consumer hardware to handle in real time. Google's solution for this version is an architecture known as Mixture of Experts, or MLE. Instead of one giant network active for every word, they split the network into 128 smaller, specialized subnetworks. Most experts sit idle. When you type a prompt, a dispatcher evaluates it and activates only the 8 most relevant experts. The rest stay inactive. Mathematically, this provides the intelligence of a 26 billion parameter model while only requiring the active processing power of a much smaller 3.8 billion parameter model. This chart shows how effective that trade-off is. The standard, power-hungry 31 billion parameter model scores 1452 on high-level reasoning benchmarks. The Mixture of Experts model reaches 1441, achieving nearly the same intelligence while using only 1/17 of the active compute. By removing the memory and compute barriers, Google has placed flagship-level intelligence directly onto the devices of independent developers worldwide. Beyond the technical hurdles, Google also removed the legal ones. By releasing Gemma under the Apache 2.0 license, they've eliminated the red tape, revenue limits, and reporting requirements that usually stall enterprise adoption. This is a major shift for regulated industries like healthcare and fintech. Because the model runs on private hardware, sensitive data never has to leave the building, making it much easier for legal teams to approve AI integration. This move is largely defensive. Google has watched as developers rapidly gravitated toward open-source models from Meta and Mistral, and they were losing the developer ecosystem that usually fuels long-term growth. Developer loyalty compounds over time. When an engineer learns a specific model's quirks and builds their tooling and workflows around it, they become much more likely to stay with that provider when it's time to scale up. Gemma is the top of the funnel. Google encourages startups to prototype locally for free, but when they succeed and scale to millions of requests, the path of least resistance is migrating directly to Google Cloud's paid servers, where Gemma is already natively supported. In the new AI economy, the developer who builds on your open-source model today is the enterprise customer paying your cloud bill tomorrow. Gemma is Google's way of making sure those customers stay on their side of the fence.
Thank you. Share and subscribe to Learn AI for more AI insights.